Hey there everyone, welcome back to the Digital Paul Workshop. It is I, that blue screen that loves to pop up on your windows, Techno Meow Tinkerer. And today I'm just going to go through what I did far as fixing and upgrading an old Dell Optiplex that I have that I want to use as a secondary workstation. So without any further ado, let's log on in. So I recorded a bunch of this stuff at different times. So if things look slightly different, that's because they were all done at different dates. But no, the first thing was my Dell Optiplex had kind of died on me. I used to use it as old workstation Windows 10, and I decided that I want to find out what's really causing, because the power light or the power button light would be orange. Well, I had a feeling it was likely the PSU because this unit has already died once before, and I do have a spare one, but not for this particular form factor. As you can see, there's the orange light. And so one of the things I wanted to do was just to make sure it is the PSU beforehand, and I figured I'll go through some of the methods and ways that you can check in case you don't have a second Dell power supply unit. And that's because interesting is Dell's proprietary, so you can't just throw any power supply in. Matter of fact, I understand you have to buy special adapters if you're going to use other power supplies for the Dell motherboards and stuff, because apparently something about, I guess, the pin orders are different. And so I just go through and I take some stuff out. Now here I'm just taking some of the parts out without really unplugging them, because I'm going to be checking the RAM and the CMOS battery. Those are the first two things, and this is some stuff I had looked up. So yeah, go ahead and take the RAM sticks on out. Now, my understanding, you're supposed to have RAM done this way, yet when I upgraded new RAM into this thing, ChatGPT says something different. And I did use ChatGPT for finding out my RAM and CPU, what I needed. And so I think, yeah, I'm plugging up power to it right now. And I don't remember the reason why, but he told it's one reason why a PC may not boot. We still got the orange indicator light. Could be the RAM. And so it could be a bad RAM stick, or try a different RAM slot, or one at a time. And that's kind of what I'm going to do right here. Just kind of go through and check the different RAM. Now, going back to when I upgraded it, these were 2 sticks of 2 GB RAM. And when I decided to buy more RAM, I bought 2 4 sticks, and I just threw them in here because I didn't want to buy. I think the max this thing can take is total of 16. And if I bought 2 or 4 sticks, 4 GB, it would have. I was just having these 2 right here, being that extra just lying around cutting, because I wouldn't have nowhere to put them, or I don't even know if I could really sell 2 GB for anything. If you know anything that requires that, please let me know. I might sell them and buy 2 more 4 gigs. But no, this actually, when I go to put the RAM in later, it gives me about a total of 12, having all 4 sticks, the 2 gigs and the 2 4s. And so I figure for the most part that's going to be plenty for some of the stuff I'm planning on doing on this thing. Now here I am trying to change out the CMOS battery. It is kind of a little bit of a trick to get to, and so I had to use the screwdriver to pry it out of its slot. And maybe if I unplugged everything, it would have been easier. And I actually keep a drawer of these around, because for some reason I've had issues in the past where you had to replace the CMOS battery, especially if the computer is having trouble keeping time, like when you boot up and the time ain't always right. Now, when I upgraded my main workstation PC, Windows for some reason wouldn't keep the time, and so I had to go in, and I forgot what feature. Was it something in Windows, or I had to go into the boot, not the bootloader, whatever, is that BIOS. I had to go into BIOS. I had to sit there and think. I couldn't remember. I actually ChatGPT helped me on that. But no, what I end up doing, and now some people will tell you not to use ChatGPT because you don't know what command lines to give you. Because this computer, after I upgraded the power supply and I forgot to record me upgrading, taking in and putting out the power supply, or I might have actually just was not feeling like recording when I did it. I've been kind of trying to fight over burnout for the past year now, and I still haven't fully come over it, even though I'm trying to trudge my way through. Now, some of you might remember this from an old video where I turned this into like a workstation power supply, so I can just hook the hard drives up to it when I need to test some stuff out. But it has the same pin configuration as the one that this Optiplex has, and I've actually used it before, as you will see here in a picture I was displaying when I go to edit. Until I got a chance to get a new power supply in. But no, this was the first computer I actually tried Linux on. After I replaced the power supply, I installed Linux Mint because I wanted to try it before putting it on my main workstation. And as I said before, my Linux Mint video, I actually bought a secondary hard drive so I could dual boot between Windows 10 and Linux Mint, because some of my programs that I use, I don't have a Linux Mint compatible version of it yet, especially when it comes to the smoothness and editing, or some of the things I want to do. Especially like right now, I'm still using VC Face and VRoid Studios, and I haven't found an easy way to run locally. You can, I think you can do, is it Steam? You can run VC Face through it, but that means you have to have internet and create an account. And if you want a PC that's offline for your recording, especially like this one, I'm thinking about putting this one out at the workshop so I can record from out there working directly on the bench and stuff. And so I wouldn't have internet out there, so I think you might could run Steam locally, but I ain't going to go through just to me it don't make no sense just to create an account just so I could use one app locally. That's just, to me, ain't logical. And until I can figure out, now I did cover what program I can use, and I probably will do that in the future, play around with it a bit more as soon as I can get over this burnout. But yeah, as you see here, I hooked the power supply. Yeah, it will not fit. It will not. So, but it works. At least let me try, made sure that it was the power supply that was messed up. But like I said, I just want to go through some of the few things you could check in case you don't have something like this lying around. Although if you're a tech person like me, you'll probably end up accumulating stuff, so you can easily check and find out, yep, there's the thumbs up, means it's powered up, and power down. So yeah, like I said, it was used to test Linux, and you'll see the desktops and the programs I put on and tested. What's weird is I can get certain things to run on this one, but not my main PC, and I can get some of the stuff working on my main PC. I can't. Come to find out that the CPU I use is a Gen 2, I think is what this unit takes, and LM Studio does not operate on at least the current version. I might have to try to find an older one so I can use. So I thought about using this also as a AI workstation where I could go in and put some stuff in. And so yeah, I'm putting in now the 4GB RAM sticks. And what I did is, since this was running Linux Mint, I went to ChatGPT and I told it I'm running Linux Mint on an Optiplex. I don't know what board it is, what RAM it needs, and what CPU. And I kind of did it in different sections instead of all at once. So it goes into telling me how to look up what RAM it uses and what code. Now, like I said, some people say don't do it because you don't know what code ChatGPT will give you, because it is trained off of stuff online. Go look it up for yourself. But here's the thing: if you go look up and you click on a Reddit thread or something, and it's like one that really was closed and none other people talk on it, they might have put some code on there that's just as nefarious as the one ChatGPT. That's why no matter what source you use, you might want to take a double look at it and also double check it if you feel like it don't seem right. But so far, most of the code, and I'll show you an example of when I go to check the CPU. I didn't recheck after I installed the RAM. I did use GPT to tell me what code to run to see make sure my RAM was working right, and yes, everything showed up clear. Both 2 sticks, both 4 sticks. Now, ChatGPT says the configuration you saw me do there is not the most efficient for some reason. Apparently, it's grouping them as 2 and 4 instead of 2, 2 and 4, 4. But I'm not worried about it. I don't know too much of what it would cause problems. I've heard some stuff, but like I said, this is going to be probably more for a secondary workstation for me to record. And if I can get some of my AI, like LM Studio and Comfy, really going on this one, I'll probably let this be the rendering machine. And that's something else I could probably do, is probably connect it to my main computer when I do Blender, so when I render stuff. Yeah, oh yeah, I had to unplug the fan header. That was real fun trying to figure out how to get that thing. It was still stuck. Now, I know they say do this when you're putting the heat sink down, and I'm just applying the same rules. They say always screw, not catty corner, not horizontal. I forgot the term for going across. Now, boy, age is catching up to me. Nah, I'm still young. I'm still 12 at heart. But no, they always say diagonal. That's the word I'm looking for, the diagonal. To try to kind of go across. And I've had this screwdriver since I was like early teens. I think I got this screwdriver like when I was 12 or 13. So that's like early 90s. And so that's how long this one's lasted me. Never really used the container inside. It's meant for housing stuff. I don't think I found out of it later. And so, yeah, take the off and heatsink off. I am quite curious what that is at the top, that big green square spot. I wonder if that's some other chip. One of the things I did do when I asked what chip, and I originally was going to go from, this is an i3 chip, and I was going to go to an i5, but because it was cheap, but I was looking at the i7, and I went with an i7. Yeah, right. So where do you take a point where the arrow is, so you know how to properly line the chip up. Oh yeah, this thing came. That's just how the chip came. It came in it's used. Everything was used. Well, I know for sure the RAM and the CPU is used, and so that's something you gotta be careful about. And I don't remember if the not GPU, but the PSU was used. No, I had actually asked and went through finding out what actual chip to look for using ChatGPT for this unit, and I want to make sure one had video integration. And of course, now we get the isopropyl alcohol out to clean off the old thermal paste. I used the Q-tip, then I went and it's like, this is going to take a while for Q-tip. So since I got it wet with the Q-tip and isopropyl alcohol, I went and got some Kleenex. Since this is actually a copper, so I wasn't really too worried about messing it up, at least not that I'm aware of. Being a copper heatsink, I don't know if keep wetting everything with the Q-tip and isopropyl alcohol, basically rubbing alcohol. I clean off the other CPU later before I put it up. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna store it. I don't know if I could sell it. I don't know if anybody wants an i3 or if it's really usable other than for a workstation. So I might hold on to it in case I ever need it for, and like if this one goes bad, because like I said, this is an used CPU, and it's hesitant buying used because you don't know how long one. But I think the eBay seller I got it from did say that it was certified tested or something, so I decided to take a gamble. I went with an i7 because I want to give it the most processing power, because right now GPUs are still out of my price range. And yeah, I was a little hesitant when I went to put this down because, like, boy, that is tight. And like, I couldn't remember it being that tight when I was taking it off. And I just kept checking to make sure that I wasn't messing anything up, because I about screwed up when I first built my computer. I accidentally bent some pins because I didn't know what I was doing. And thanks to Linus Tech Tip, I could straighten them out using an old mechanical pencil. So yeah, thanks. This is thermal paste that actually came with, and I originally built my first computer, so I don't know what brand it is. And so if you're going to fuss at me about not using the right thermal paste, you can always donate money to my Thrones account so I can buy the correct thermal paste. Right now I'm using what's on hand. I did the, of course, instead of the P size, I did the X, and well, there was something else checking out. Oh yeah, I didn't realize when I took the coolant heat sink off. I'm going to get my words right here in a second. That there are actually some clips down here at the bottom of the screen that you have to put in to some holes in the back, and I didn't at first recognize the right holes, and they're actually a little further down. So got that in place before. Now turn it back around the screw. What is something else? Yeah, after I fixed the CPU on my work computer, the bent pin. So yeah, I didn't want to have a repeat of that, so that's why I was very cautious about closing it back up this time, although I didn't have the little lid, because the video I used at the time didn't tell me that little cap supposed to come off and not use. I thought it was supposed to stay on there, and I wasn't doing it right. And of course, like I said earlier about doing it diagonal, I was told you screw a little bit here, you don't screw one side all the way down. What else I need to think about? Yeah, be careful with the ChatGPT code for using the terminal it gives you. Be careful buying used. I think it actually cost me $80 something. I don't remember the exact price. I know it was under 90. I just gave under 100 because shipping may vary depending upon where you live. And it's kind of you can think about overall, a cheap upgrade just to give it a little bit more juice and power. Especially to handle if I decide to do any video editing, if I need to edit something there on the spot, or my main PC goes down, I still have a way of at least doing some stuff. Because you never know what the future holds. And of course, the first rule of computers is always make backups, and that includes making a backup workstation other than backing up your data. Second rule is save and save often. These are the two rules we preached in my graphic design class when I was in college. Always make backups and save often. Or it might be the other way around. It might be rule 1, save and save often, and rule 2. Either way, those are two important rules you need to have. Doesn't matter the order. Oh yeah, that was something else. For some reason, the cables kept wanting to get in the way ever since I put this new power supply. The old one, I didn't seem to have this issue with. And of course, I had to put all the cables on before putting the hard drive in because it is very difficult to connect them. Same thing with trying to connect make sure, and at the angle I was at, it was kind of hard to make sure sometimes what direction the stuff was being, so I had to actually get up and walk around, as you can see here, to make sure I plug everything up in the correct spot. Make sure, there you go. Yeah, now the power cable, it hid from me, so I had to actually stop and hunt for it, like where did he go? And it was hidden up here. Somehow it got hidden way up there. And make sure I get everything in spot. I kind of wish there was a spot that I could actually throw in a secondary hard drive. I didn't see one. It'd be nice to have one. Now, as you can see here, this is it working, and I'm just going to give you an example how I use ChatGPT. And like I said, this was the Optiplex I used to test everything before I decided to install Linux Mint on my actual work PC. So like it says, I'm running Linux Mint and just replaced the CPU. How can I check to see what CPU. And so one reason I did it this way is I've heard this happen with GPUs, and what CPU it is when the terminal is because I've heard that a lot of times somebody, especially used ones, they'll switch stuff out and it won't be the exact parts needed. And of course, paste LS CPU. Let me come up here, and there you go. I have an Intel Core i7-26 CPU at 3.4 gigahertz. So just a little more process. I don't know if it's really going to help me that much, but I just figure I'll give it, if I'm going to upgrade it, I might as well try to at least give it a little bit of an upgrade. And that's just me repairing my Optiplex 790 small form factor PC, as well as giving it a little bit of an upgrade so I can use it as a secondary workstation. And if you like my content, you can go to these websites right here to support me in different ways. And of course, the links are in the description, as well as you can like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone you think might find it interesting. And if you want to know more about my experience with Linux Mints, like some of the stuff I found out, you can always check out my video over here, Linux Mint, what I've learned so far. Until next time, have a nice day.